Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Reed Wheeler, and today with me, I have a fabulous, awesome knitting freak with me here today. So,
Welcome to the Honors Podcast.
Norah Cook, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yes, I would love to. My name's Nora. I'm a senior at High Point University in the University Honors Program. So, I've loved being in that community, but outside of honors, I'm an exercise science major on a pre-optometry track. So my end goal is that I want to be an eye doctor when I grow up. Being a senior, I'm currently in the process of applying for optometry schools, so that's been a wild journey, but I'm absolutely so excited for the next chapter and the ways that honors has supported me to be able to get there. Such a cool journey. And then, in my free time, I love doing community service. I'm a part of Alpha Phi Omega, which is the national service fraternity established on campus. And like Reed mentioned, in my free time, I love knitting.
Yes.
That's my grandma hobby.
Yes, I definitely have some questions for you about that.
Okay.
And what's some other campus involvement, and then where are you from as well?
Yeah. I'm also the founding member and then the first president of the Pre-Optometry Club.
Okay,
so I kind of
cool.
started that community for other students, whether they're exercise science majors or whatever major they are, to kind of explore an optometry track, even if they're not sure, they have no idea, some of them, what optometry even is, but it's a community where they can come and learn about it and then kind of feel out if that's a career they might want to do. I've been involved in a few different things. I did a short stint on the club running team. That didn't last very long. I prefer to run on my own, which is something I learned pretty quickly. But yeah, I like to spend my free time with friends too, just hanging out with honors kids, especially. It's such a cool community. So.
It's so cool. And I'm still even with listening to all the seniors talking about it, it's there's something that's kind of indescribable about it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's it shouldn't make sense that it should work because everyone's so different and
yeah.
But we all kind of have this weird curiosity thing about ooh, that's really weird. I want to learn more about that.
Yeah, that's something that I think is so interesting about the honors community because you're exactly right. Some of my closest friends aren't science majors at all, and they're on completely different tracks, and we have completely different hobbies, but they're still some of my closest friends. So it's crazy to think that if we weren't in the honors program together, we have no other similarities that would have brought us together as friends. So that's wild to think about.
All right. Just to get it out of the way, tell me about knitting in college. What does that do for you?
Yeah.
How'd you get into that?
I also love to sew. When I'm at home, I sew a lot of clothes. I love making dresses and pants and stuff like that. But coming to college, I knew that bringing a sewing machine is not really realistic coming to college, especially when you have a roommate.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear your sewing machine going into the wee hours of the morning. So I was okay, sewing will just become a while I'm at home hobby, and I'll just give up that kind of craftiness while I'm at school. And I felt I was fine with that. But then in sophomore year, I was no, I really miss just having something to do that was just relaxing. It wasn't it was productive, but not productive in the same way that a lot of students view productivity. I wanted to make a project that was just fun. There was no timeline. There was no turning it in or critique on what I was producing. It would be something that was really just for me. So I started to pick up knitting. My grandmother had taught me when I was really young, but I didn't really remember all of the skills. So I just started watching YouTube videos, and I found this free pattern online for a sweater. So I jumped into a big project immediately. And I spent about a little more than half a semester working on a sweater that I made, and I loved it so much that I just had to make another one. So now I'm 4 or 5 sweaters into my knitting journey, and I've made a pair of socks too, made a beanie once. I just love it. It's so relaxing, and it's, like I said, it's productive and I get something out of it, but it's not graded and there's no rules around what I create for myself.
Yeah, I feel we need more of that in our life, especially in our generation. We waste a lot of time just classic example, just kind of like doom scrolling
Yeah.
and doing anything. It's like, it's nice to have productive hobbies. That's not like for something important, but you're still
Yeah.
like, you're just making a sweater or like growing some pots. That's what I
Yeah.
do.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. Yeah, and like the great thing about knitting too is that I can still watch a movie
Yeah.
while I'm knitting. Like I can like watch a movie and do something productive. So I feel like a lot of people, especially when they're super, super busy, they're like, I just don't have time to like sit and watch a show, and like it feels like a waste of time. Like sitting and watching a show for me no longer feels like a waste of time because I'm still like doing something for myself while I'm relaxing in that space. So
Yeah,
I
it's
love
really
it.
great. Yeah, I've gotten into like every Sunday I gotta like rotate my plants, water them, and all this stuff because I have the corner room in York with the 2
Yes.
windows,
Yes.
and like the light's not proportionate, so I have to like move them around
Yeah.
and make sure they're getting good sunlight and all that
Oh
stuff.
my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, so it's really fun. Big plant daddy, and it's really fun. Okay, now the more important stuff. But knitting is still awesome. Exercise science.
Yeah.
Tell me about that major and how it works here at HPU, especially for those students who might be interested in it.
Yeah. So exercise science now falls under the Health and Human Performance Department. And I think it's a really cool major. I think a lot of people look at it as something that's for a very specific person. Most exercise science majors are on one of 3 tracks, and that's typically physical therapy, athletic training, or like pre-PA, pre-med kind of situation. You'll notice that I'm not any of those things. And so I think a lot of people look at it as kind of a stepping stone for those specific career paths. Which it is. It's really great for that. You learn so much about the human body, anatomy, physiology, and then you look at it through specific lenses of like exercise specifically, or as we age, how does our exercise habits, how do they have to change to match like what we're doing? There's nutrition classes that you learn about, like how do I fuel myself to be able to perform the way that I want to, whether that's in terms of like, oh, I'm like aging and I'm having a hard time like losing weight, or I'm an athlete and I need to be able to fuel myself to perform really, really well on whatever competitive stage you're working towards. So yeah, a lot of people look at it for like physical therapy students, athletic training students. But I've loved the major so much. The reason I picked it originally was because I actually wanted to go into physical therapy. But I switched my career path like early on into my undergraduate education, and I just chose to keep the major because I thought it was so interesting. And no hate to biology majors, but I just don't like biology, which is the most typical major for optometry students. But I didn't want to like spend all of my time learning about cells and plants and like really tiny level things. Like I wanted to learn how the human body moves and why it moves the way it does, and like how we can improve that, and how we use food as fuel to be able to support all of those things, and how do the different systems of the body work together to be able to do what it can do. And exercise science classes teach you exactly that. So yeah, I just love the major, and I can't say enough good things about it. The professors are amazing, and obviously like applying for optometry schools, that's been one of the first questions that almost every interviewer asks me is like, why would you choose that major? Like, it's so unique. And I explained to them that I'm like, I think it gives me a leg up on like, I understand the body on a systems level a lot better than some of my peers do who are in other natural science majors. And like, it's just something that I'm passionate about. Like, it's not necessarily a career path for me, but I just love it. And I think we're supposed to find joy in the things that we're doing in college. Like, yes, we want to be set up for career, and that's important. But if I can be set up for career and do something that I love in the process, then I'm going to do that thing. So exercise science was like the perfect combination of all of those things for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also love exercise science. I love, controversially, I love giving tours of the content and the biomechanics side. Like, it's so cool looking. And I feel
so
like
cool.
in an alternate life, I would have been an exercise science major.
Really? I could see that for you.
Because like I'm very athletic, and like
Yeah.
I'm always trying to learn like how to best like take care of my body, because like I'm determined to like make it to the next century.
Yes.
That's like a goal of mine. So
that's a really good goal.
Yeah.
And it's possible. And like
it is possible.
Having that strong understanding is like really important to be able to get there.
I know. So and like I always love exercise science majors. Like there's a weird personality correlation with exercise science majors. So like I have a lot of exercise science major friends, and like I'm always asking them for like health advice and things like that. and it's free. So
it is free. That's
pretty
so
good.
true.
So since exercise, I feel like exercise science is very applicable to your everyday life too. Has there been anything really helpful that you've applied learning from exercise science?
Yeah, I'm in a nutrition class right now, which has been like really fascinating for me. The nutrition class I'm taking is centered around sport nutrition. So nutrition for athletes specifically, athletes that are maybe performing at the college level on an Olympic stage. They're like pretty high level athletes. Like we're not talking about the average gym goer here, which is what I would categorize myself as. I am not a world-class athlete, and that's okay. But my professor, Dr. Vaughn, he is an excellent professor in the exercise science program. Like if you get a chance to take a class with him, like you have to. He's wonderful. And he started out the class by just teaching us about basic nutrition, because you can't really understand why athletes do what they do for nutrition if you don't understand what they're changing about a basic nutrition plan for the average person. So we talked a lot about all kinds of different nutrition recommendations, whether that's for protein or carbs or having a balanced diet, and like how do we like plan out like when should we be eating before our workout or after our workout, and like what is the best way to time out eating so that we don't feel GI distress when we're working out really hard. All of those like special little details, like in some ways I've been able to see like, wow, it's crazy how intuitive nutrition can be and yet so scientific at the same time. Like lots of people will tell you like, maybe don't eat a really heavy meal 20 minutes before you go and run a marathon. Like that's probably not a good idea. But there's so much research out there about like why you shouldn't do that and like how the body responds to meals and like how can we time out our nutrition and like the splits of what we're consuming to be able to perform really, really well. And that's like something that's so fascinating to me.
Okay, so tell me if this is a myth or true or not. In high school, my mom was always like, okay, we're eating dinner earlier and then we have to go on a walk after dinner before we go to bed.
Like for digestion? Or...
Yeah, supposedly. Because we have dogs anyway, so they have to be let out, but we would like schedule it for after dinner. So it's not like we're eating and then like just sitting on that and going to bed.
Yeah, I personally haven't read like any research behind that, but like I have heard that from so many people and I personally enjoy doing that. Like, yeah, I think that like food is a social thing for people and like activity like walking is also a social thing for people. And they're both important for like your health generally. So I personally don't know if like it's really a real thing that like walking after your meals actually helps your digestion be better. But I mean, I would believe it if you told me it was. Maybe I should read more into that. But yeah, I think it's probably good. Okay. It can't hurt. That's for sure.
It can't hurt. That's for sure. Okay. So that's awesome. And then research. Mm-hmm. What's the research story? According to your LinkedIn, you do insulin resistance research.
So yeah, I should probably update my LinkedIn.
I figure that seems...
Yeah. So in my sophomore year, I actually worked with Dr. Vaughn, who's teaching the nutrition class I just talked about. I worked with him for a year in his lab. And he does nutritional biochemistry. So he has like a lot of different projects. A lot of them are around insulin resistance, but they're nutritional based. And he works with like tiny, tiny little cells that you can't see with the human eye. So like kind of the opposite end of what I was talking about, like why I love exercise science, because I'm like, I love how the whole body works together.
Let's look at cells.
I loved working with Dr. Vaughn because honestly, I kind of loved some of the monotony of lab work, like where you just are in the lab and you're just pipetting like on end. And like, I just loved that too. So I worked with him on like, I think 5 or 6 different papers, doing experiments. I did like some writing for him too. Yeah, that was an awesome experience and I loved working for him. But now for research, I've kind of gotten out of the lab and now I work as a research assistant for Dr. Heyman, who is the founding dean of High Point School of Optometry. So she had some leftover data from an experiment that she was working on at her previous school. And so she hired me to kind of go through some of the data for that, like running the like typical just descriptive statistics of that, and then like preparing figures and stuff so that she could then use that data for her research. So now I've kind of shifted gears from something that was a little more hands-on, but not really specific to my career path, to something that's very specific to my career path. So that's been an interesting adjustment. But yeah, both experiences have been awesome.
That's cool. So what's the research now?
Yeah, so she studies visual acuity and accommodative response in children with visual impairment. So there's a few different like specific conditions that she's studied with like the children that she's worked with. But the study that I have been working on looks at like comparing accommodative response, which is basically like how your eyes react to what you're seeing. Like how do the muscles in your eyes, like how well are they adjusting to what you're trying to focus on. She's comparing children who have different visual impairments between like children. Why do I keep saying students? Comparing that with children who have what's considered normal vision. So yeah, that's what she's working on.
Okay. Wait, is there such thing as 20/20 vision? Like, what does that even mean?
So 20/20 vision is to say that like my eyes can clearly see at 20, is it 20 feet or 20 yards? I should know the answer to that. I think it's 20 feet.
It's America. It's 20 feet.
Yeah. At like 20, whatever unit of distance you're going to use, what everyone else should be able to see at 20 unit of distance. Whereas like if you're 20/30, it's like I can see at 20 feet what most people could see from 30 feet away. So like to have a 20/30 prescription means that like you need a little bit more like power. Like you're probably going to get some kind of prescription for your eye to help you focus on that thing that's a little bit further away.
Yeah. Do you know anything about like the history of vision impairment? Because obviously like humans have existed for longer than like glasses have existed.
Yeah.
So I wonder, like, were people just always blind or like visually impaired and just dealing with it? Or
I think it's possible. I don't know much about like ancient civilization vision, but glasses have existed for a pretty long time. Like,
like
basic glasses and lenses, like it's all physics. So like, about like how you refract light through a lens. So it's super interesting, actually, just like how glasses work and how contacts work and how just light works as they're moving through them and going into your eyes so that your brain can process what you're seeing. But I would assume that there were people that had some kind of vision impairment, whether that just be like things are a little fuzzy, whether that's up close or far away, or maybe some more extreme vision impairment, like closer to blindness. And they just were existing with it. Like there are definitely records of people in like ancient times who suffered from blindness. That definitely existed. But the interesting thing is like there are people who today have vision impairment and they have no clue. It's actually not super uncommon that optometrists go and do like school screenings at like a local elementary school, and they're like screening through children who have never worn glasses before, and they have this kid come up and they're like, oh my gosh, this kid should definitely have a prescription. And then this kid goes and gets a pair of glasses, and for the first time they're seeing the thing that was super far away, and they just thought like, oh, that's just what it's supposed to look like when it's far away. Like it's supposed to be fuzzy. My eyes aren't supposed to be able to see that. But then they put on a pair of glasses and they're like, wow, I can see so much. I can see so clearly. And they just had no clue that they were living with vision impairment. So I would imagine that ancient times like were probably a lot like that too. Like there were definitely a ton of people who probably couldn't see as well as we can today when we have our prescriptions, and at least I wear contacts. But like they just had no idea that that wasn't how their vision was supposed to be.
What are your thoughts on the whole like color argument of like, I feel like this is all, like thinking of our middle school, like, do we actually like, all see the same colors? Like is green the same for everyone? Because like, like same thing with like, you don't know that you're seeing incorrectly because that's how you've always seen.
But like
how do you know
I think
you're really not
there's
colorblind?
not really a way to like, well, okay, color blindness and us all seeing different colors are is a different thing. Like
Right.
color blindness is more like, okay, there's these two colors, like people who are red, green colorblind, like they can look at red or even like oranges and see the same tone as what they would see for like the color green. So like that's a little different because we can like clinically diagnose like, okay, you're not seeing the difference here when you should be seeing like a big difference because they're completely different colors. But like I don't know. I've heard this theory where it's like, okay, the blue that I'm seeing is different than...
It's like a weird version of like simulation theory of like, is reality we're seeing real? Do we see the same reality? I think that's like just such a weird existential question that we are, if it is the case, we're probably never going to know that that's actually a thing. I don't know. It sounds almost like so crazy that it sounds realistic. Yeah. But at the same time, you're like, no, that's definitely crazy. Yeah. So I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, but I think that's something that humans probably will never know the answer to. Yeah. Because like we can never see through someone else's eyes. Yeah. Which is really interesting as well. Because you could also argue that it's like, okay, like, yeah, my eyes are receiving light, but it's my brain that's processing like what I'm seeing. So that's something that's super interesting too, because it's like, not only can I not look through your eyes, but I have no idea what's going on in your brain. Like I have no idea how your brain is like processing what you're seeing. So do you know about Mary's room, the thought experiment? I don't think I do. Mary's room is a thought experiment where there is a color expert locked in her room her whole life. Okay. She is an expert on the color red. She knows everything about how the color red works, how light refracts through your eye, how your cones receive vision and all that stuff, but she's still never actually seen the color red. And everything in this room is black and white, and she has never seen the color red before in her life. One day, she suddenly sees an apple. Does she gain some new knowledge from actually seeing the color red when she was already an expert on everything about the color red? It's like shades and how it works and the brain processing it. Do you learn something new by actually experiencing the thing, or can you just learn about it externally and processing it? There's a whole TED video about it. Well, I don't know. I find that really interesting because like, how could you possibly be an expert on something that you've never actually like we have experts on space like they've never been to space. Yeah, but like you can see it, you know, like we have this amazing technology that allows the experts on space to be able to look up into the sky and like see really far out into space and like theorize and like understand what's happening there because they can still see it through technology. So I would say that she probably is gaining more understanding about the color because I just don't understand how you can be an expert on a color if you've never seen that color, because I think color is so crucial to experience. Like you don't have to be in space to be able to see it, to be able to understand it. But I think like something is crucial to human experience as like seeing color. Like, also, I would just have a hard time explaining the color red and all of the details about the color red to you if I couldn't show you the color red. Like, if I can't show you the difference between tones of different shades of red, like, how are you possibly supposed to be an expert on that color? No matter how much detail I give you, if I can't show it to you, you have no baseline for what is a light or a dark color. Yeah. So I would say she probably is gaining more understanding because I wouldn't classify her as an expert on it, no matter how much she's read in black and white. I agree. And like the kind of discussion around that thought experiment was a lot about like, what is it that she is gaining? Like, what is that knowledge she's understanding? Because she's just witnessing it. She sees it and like, what is her brain now? What's that process? Which is still like not really identified in neuroscience. It's really interesting. Yeah, so true. Okay. Speaking of thought experiments and your stories, tell me more about your story. Where and how did you grow up as a little child back in the day? I was born in Richmond, Virginia, and I lived there all through high school. I'm like almost a unique case because almost everybody I know has moved at some point in their life or changed schools like this too. Or something. I lived in the same house
for like all of growing up, I went to the same school. For all of growing up, I went to the same school from what we call junior kindergarten, it's pre-K, through senior year of high school. So I went to the same school for 14 years, like had a lot of the same classmates. There was some turnover, of course, but like, so I had the same commute to school every day, and I went to the same church my whole life growing up. And so like, I don't know, my childhood is just marked by so much consistency in like so many different aspects of my life, whether that is like school or home or family. Like there's just a lot of things that stayed the same. And like, I think that made handling change a lot easier. Like switching sports, or my brother's a lot older than me. So like when he moved out of the house, like it was a lot easier to handle that kind of change because like everything else is staying the same. But at the same time, change was really hard for me. Like between my sophomore and junior year of high school, a lot of my friends from the school I went to transferred to different schools, like all different schools. And I was like, oh my gosh, all of these people that like some of them I went to school starting in kindergarten with, like a lot of them are now gone. And so like that made change like super interesting because like, wow, this environment that I thought was going to be so consistent forever until I graduated high school is now so different because the people are different. So I don't know, consistency and change are interesting parts of my life, I think.
That's good. I share the sentiment. I also grew up in the same house my whole life. So, which I feel like is part of why I wanted to go out of state for college. Which, speaking of that, what was the journey with finding High Point? Why did you decide to come here?
Well, my journey for like deciding I wanted to come to High Point was actually pretty interesting. A lot like you, I knew I wanted out of Virginia. Like as much as I loved home, I was like, I told my parents, I was like, I'm going to be more than 2 hours away from you. No matter where I am, if I'm in the state, out of the state, I am at least a 2-hour drive away, because I knew myself in the fact that like, if I was too close, like I would probably want to go home and see my family more than I really needed to. But I really wanted to actually experience college and like outside of class time, like have friends and a social life and be here for all of like the special moments that are just hanging out with friends on the weekend. So I wanted to choose a school that was at least 2 hours away. I got a lot of mail from High Point, which I think anybody who has ever somehow given their address to High Point University has gotten a million pieces of mail sent to them at their home address. And I thought it was the most annoying thing. If I'm being completely honest, I was like, why would I want to go to this school? Like, they're sending me so much mail. This is so annoying. I told that to my mom too. I was like, I don't want to go there. Like, we're not even going to go tour. And she was like, let's just give it a chance. Like, they're sending you a lot of mail. Like, they have programs that you would be interested in, like exercise science, physical therapy. Like, they have those things that you want to do in college. Like, let's just go see it. We made the rookie mistake of High Point being my first college tour, which just like ruined every other school for me. Like, you come here and you're like, wow, it's beautiful. Everyone's happy and smiling. There's people hanging out with their friends. There's people just enjoying their days. And there's so much resources here too. Like, wow, you actually have a genuine connection with your professors, and you actually have access to internships or whatever really you want to do. Like, you'll have that here as an opportunity. So from then on, like, I still applied to some other schools. I still toured some other schools. But yeah, when I got my High Point acceptance, I was like, this is probably the right decision for me. Like, it just felt right. The community was there and the opportunity was there. So I don't think really I ever truly considered another school.
Yeah, especially when it's the first one you toured.
I know.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then how did the honors program come into the picture?
Yeah. I don't think I even really heard about the honors program on my tour, which is weird because like now giving tours, I talk about the honors program maybe a little too much on my tours. I usually ask people like, oh, are you interested in the honors program? Because if they say like, no, we don't want to be in honors, then I'm like, well, I still really want to tell you about it. So I'll give you a Cliff Notes version. But when people are like, yeah, like tell me more. Oh my gosh, I go on and on and on. But yeah, I don't think I really knew much about the honors program from just touring. But after I like submitted my application and got an acceptance, I like got an invitation to apply to the honors program, as well as the exercise science fellows, now called the health and human performance fellows, or health science fellows, something. And so I applied to both. And I was like, I'll just choose one. Maybe if I only get into one, like that's fine. Or if I don't get into either, that's cool too. Like I'm just happy to be going to school here. So I applied. I heard back from honors first that I like got accepted into the program. And so that's kind of when I really started diving into like, wait, what exactly am I applying for? Like what exactly am I about to commit myself to? And I had met a couple of people at my presidential scholars interview who were in the honors program, and they kind of like briefly talked about what they liked and disliked, but I still didn't really understand what I was getting myself into. But I don't know. I feel like you can tell from my like bio, my life story, that I'm a well-rounded person. Like I love things from all different fields, and like honors is literally described as like an interdisciplinary program. Like our classes are designed to look at topics from all different lenses, and it's taught by professors from all different backgrounds and like fields of study. And so I was like, that's really interesting to me because I don't want to spend all of my time just being in a science classroom. Like, but I don't want to spend my time on general education requirements that aren't really going to impact me in any way. Yeah. So I was like, honors sounds like the right environment for me. And I've loved it, every second of it. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And I imagine you love our director, Dr. Hedman.
Yes.
Do you remember first meeting him, what your impression was?
Let's see. I think I like might have heard him talk at an open house or something, or Presidential Scholars Weekend when they do the like honors panel. But like, I don't think I really understood him as a person until like our humanistic inquiry lab, which is like a fantastically named How to Be a Baller. Like his personality just comes out so much. And something that I love that the honors program does is that the kind of like faculty and leadership of the honors program like sit down and get breakfast with every single freshman in their first semester. Like they get groups together of freshmen, or breakfast or lunch. I think lunch a lot of times. And like they get to know them. And so that's a really fun experience because like for the first time, like sure you get to have a connection with your like teachers in high school, but now like, oh my gosh, I'm sitting across the table from people who are like teaching me, like people who know so much more than me. And like they're sitting here because they want to get to know me. Like that's such a cool experience. So yeah. I don't think I really like knew Dr. Hedman very well until I was like sitting across the table from them, and he was like showing a genuine interest in like what I was interested in. And that was like such a cool shift for me in terms of like him, but also just how I view professors in general.
Yeah, that's really cool. I have one of your honors challenge photos.
Oh. Which one?
This is really funny because it kind of reminds me of what we were talking about on Tuesday with your smiling habit at the student patient thing.
Yeah.
So,
I smile too much.
Yeah. In your Kill the Noise challenge, you said,
I drew a
I have
face.
kind of bad FOMO. So whose distraction to me is when my friends are trying to do something. To solve this problem, I killed my friend so I could do my homework without missing out on anything. Sorry, I didn't frown. I was laughing too hard, but I drew a frowny face on myself. But as I got my homework done.
Wow, what a throwback. Yeah.
What a throwback.
I remember drawing that frowny face on myself and being like, it looks like I have a mustache. I think I redrew it like 4 times because I was like, this looks awful. I just couldn't stop like laughing. It was just such a funny situation.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, but I still think you're a good performer, actor. You put on a good face.
I was fighting it at first, especially because some of the AT students who I was like doing the standardized patient for, I walked into the room and some of them I knew, like I'd taken classes with some of them, and they saw me and they were like they started laughing, and I was like, I'm like, lock in, Norah, don't start laughing. Like you need to put on a good face and hyperventilate for these people.
I need to be a patient.
Yes.
That's fun. Yeah. And you love Glee, don't you?
I love Glee. I think I've watched like all 6 seasons, even though like the last season is bad. Like I always watch it all the way through. Like if I start it, like I'm not going to get halfway through the series and then restart again. Like I have to watch all the way through the 6th season. I actually just finished the 6th season, I think like a week ago. Yeah, I love that show. It's so funny to me.
Why?
Why? I don't know if like the humor is just like right for me, but like the just situations that like they experience are just like funny to me because they're like some of their like plot lines are so realistic and some of the plot lines I'm just like what is happening here? And I think my love of Glee kind of like stems back, as crazy as it sounds, to like junior kindergarten because my mom and my brother used to watch the show when it was on air, which at the time I was super young, like way too young to watch that show. But I loved the music. So my mom would record Glee on the DVR. And then the next morning before school, she would fast forward through all of the like normal plot scenes just to the performances if they were like appropriate, because some of them were not appropriate. But like she would fast forward to the music performances that were like age appropriate, and like I would sit on the couch and eat my breakfast, and I loved that.
Yeah.
Like it was so fun. Like wow, it's before school and I'm getting to watch TV and watch these like super cool musical performances. Like this is awesome. So then when I was old enough to watch the show, I was like, wow, like there's so much more depth now. And of course the music was just as good as I had remembered it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's really fun. That's a really cool fun fact for you. Okay, that's kind of it. That's what I got for you.
Nice.
I guess in your senior year, kind of preparing for grad school, you got that whole thing going on. In reflection of the past 4 years of your undergrad experience, what in your mind has become the point of college?
Oh, I think my answer is not going to be as like, wow, as you're hoping it is.
I'm not hoping it to be.
Okay. I have learned so much that like college, as amazing as it is just not the place where we are supposed to stay. And like going through now like the interview process for grad school, like for the first time ever, I've been intentionally missing classes because I'm like traveling for interviews or like I need to take the day because like I'm preparing for interviews or whatever. And I'm a person who you will never catch me skipping class. Like I do not play that game. If you looked at my attendance record from freshman, sophomore, and junior year, you will probably notice that I've only ever missed like 2 classes. And that's because I was probably like on my deathbed ill. And so that was like a weird adjustment for me. Like now I'm going to be intentionally missing classes, but that's a good thing because the fact that I have interviews because these schools like me from my application is because college prepared me to be able to do this. Like college is the stepping stone to learn so much and meet so many people and form such great connections so that you can now go forward and do something even greater. Like as amazing as college is and as much as I'm going to miss these people, like I'm ready for the next step because my college education has prepared me to do just that. So I don't know. That's the way I see college. A lot of people see college as like, oh, it's a fun experience. Yeah, it's a degree, but like it's supposed to be something that you're very in the moment for, which I would agree. But yeah, it's not meant to be forever. These are experiences that are supposed to be lived and then happy memories moving on to the next step. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for the next step.
It's a stepping stone, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good answer. I feel like that's wow.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, and then tradition on the podcast is the previous guest has left a question for you to answer.
Okay.
And then you will leave a question for the next guest.
Okay.
So for the final question, the previous guest wants to ask you, what is one part of your college career you wish you could do over and why?
Oh my. That's a really tough one because I feel like there are a few things that I would actually do differently.
Yeah.
But like to do something over doesn't necessarily mean that you have to change something, I guess. So I would probably want to go back and like kind of tell myself to not be as busy. Like not necessarily take things off my plate, but something I've learned so much is like efficiency is a really important thing. Like you can do a lot of things and then still have free time. And so I would really, if I could do like maybe, I don't know, sophomore year over again when I just had so much on my plate, like just to say like, take a deep breath and take a moment now because in 30 minutes you can hit the ground running again. but like taking a moment for yourself would just be like so special. And like, even if you're not even doing it by yourself, like you're hanging out with friends or something like that, having more time with friends is something that I think a lot of people wish they had when they look back on college. So yeah, that's maybe something I would do a little bit differently. It's just like early on, not trying to stress myself out because I'm always running for the next thing, but like taking that deep breath and like enjoying the time before moving on to the next thing.
That's good. That's a good answer.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for visiting me today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
This was so exciting.
I'll pass the journal over to you and choose a color.
Oh my gosh. This is awesome.
Yeah. Just leave your question for the next guest, and that's your cliffhanger.
Yay.